The stories of northern Uganda, 20 years, the stories of today have closed the chapter of revelation of who has caused insecurity in this region, to our forefathers, to ourselves, and to our future. I'm as old as Uganda, and so I have a right to speak about it. We have been told that the Uganda People's Defense Force, a professional army that we've been building over the years, has successfully been turned into a killing machine, an efficient killing machine. And they're bragging about it. Who are they killing? They're not killing Sudanese, although they may. But primarily, their slaughterhouse is us. I'm reminded of the slaughterhouse in Namamve. This is not coincidence. This is not coincidence. The happenings have exposed the security apparatus, the intelligence apparatus, because it was false intelligence that led to the abduction of Dr. Besigye. That's why Birungi is in prison in Luzira with the person for whom he was providing false information, false intelligence to a nation. False intelligence is becoming the hallmark of our insecurity as a nation, coupled with extortion, coupled with squaring. Arguments. This trajectory leads only to one end, certain end. Terror and chaos. That is why it's so important at this point in time for us to invite the national resistance movement to talk about our collective political future. Because it's going to get worse, Sarah. You see, when you start being a Dracula, you never stop. No, you don't. A political Dracula only gets thirstier. Blood begets blood. And we don't want this country to be a bloodbath again. Because if you invite M23 and you host M23, you have a genocidal plot you're setting up against us. That is not lost on us. We are painting this picture for all Ugandans to understand that we don't just talk for nothing or for absence of what to do, but because we do understand the political terrain, the threats that surround all of us collectively, because once bullets begin to go around, they are not democratic. They pick you anywhere. This country we have built together. Let us keep it secure together. And that's why it is the time now to invite the national resistance movement that has held fort, held power for the last 7 elective rounds, to read the right up to them. Because the future is more important than the past, as far as we are concerned. That is why it is imperative that the national resistance movement finds our invitation timely to stop what they're unraveling in our midst. The abduction of Dr. Besigye has also been very revealing. And it has, together with the exilement of the Honorable Kyagulanyi and his family, it's been a very good occurrence as far as opening the eyes of the world to the political situation we are in as a country. Without them, we would not have had senators speak about us. Different parliaments pay attention to what we are doing because it's the same parliaments and the same senators who do business with the killing machine. This is our home. We love it, like everybody does. And so we invite the national resistance movement, because it's the political party on the other side that we need to do business with. Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome to the UPC National Headquarters. We've invited you as members of the press to listen to us as we seek to determine a future which works for us as Ugandans. We have been, over the last a bit of time, we've been interacting across political lines, and today was the day for Uganda People's Congress to host our sister parties. In the House, we have the PFF, we have JEMA, we have the PPP, we have FDC, and we also have apologies for some who are not able to make it. I will not dwell on that one, and I'll allow each of the political parties to speak after I have put some of these matters before the country. As Uganda, we are in a very difficult situation. About a week ago, no, earlier, less than a week ago, I was reading in one of the publications the frightening issue of babies being abandoned. Some in fields, some in latrines, some in all sorts of places, but babies being abandoned. And that story bothered me seriously. That you have somebody whose life has become so difficult that the easier thing is to abandon a child. Life has become so bad that you leave your child. You think it is better. Your child is better than that child is not with you. And the Ugandans who are going through that one, we hear those stories. A baby abandoned in a latrine, a baby abandoned there. But those babies are the future of this country. Without the children, where is this country? And as political leaders, that is the question we must ask. It is as if Ugandans have been abandoned. Where are the parents? Where are the Ugandans who can say, no, this child has to have a future? We may not have been the parents of that child, but we have to be responsible. Those of us who can speak must be responsible to stand up and speak for Uganda. As UPC, I am not ready to see Uganda abandoned on the wayside by people who do not care about the future of Uganda. I'll put my life on the line for Uganda. And what is Uganda without its people? We have been given this issue of fear, fear, fear. What are we fearing? We're going to die. After you're born, you're going to die, unless Jesus comes. Yeah, but you can't bank on that one. The surest thing is that you're going to die. What are you going to do when you're alive? As a congressman, UPC, which invested, and today they like saying Obote, the problem of Uganda was Obote. What did Obote do for Uganda? If I'm to break it down, I touched on health. Obote in the 60s, you look at the second 5-year development plan from 66, Obote envisioned a health service which worked for the people of Uganda. And he started building it where we didn't even have a medical school. We had less than 400 doctors in Uganda, but we built a medical system based on the people. Uganda of today, we cannot take care of our interns. Others are saying, no, some are private. I don't care whether they're private or whether they came from it. If they treat Ugandans, that's all we need to know. If these people can save a Ugandan life, this one baby, if we can save one baby, if one intern can save one baby, that is a Uganda we must work for. We must be able to stand for those who cannot speak for themselves. But they're the future. But we've been terrorized. We've been put into fear. Fear has to end. Fear has to end, and it has to be taken over by a purpose, a greater purpose than what we stand for. A greater purpose which has brought us all here together today. And that purpose must be a Uganda which works for its citizens. Health service must work on the basis of the medical professionals. It's not the buildings. We boast the buildings which we did. And we were proud of those buildings. But the key thing which makes it work is the medical professionals doing their duty. The doctor is in charge. You have your nurse there. You have the whole team working together. That is what makes, that's how you save a patient. So how are we going to save Uganda? Not by silence. Uganda will not be saved by silence. People have to stand up and take the bull by the horns. If there are people who have outgrown their offices, this Uganda is bigger than all of us. And just as in an operating theater, I'm sure our Musa will be able to expound better. There are roles, specific roles. You don't get the attendant coming and saying, no, we're going to do an operation. No. A surgeon. A gives that position. What of Uganda today and the positions? Somebody has a position of CDF, I think number 27 in the hierarchy, issuing orders, passing sentences, 10 years. Who are you? The Uganda which we want, Uganda must work for all of us. If Uganda is this abandoned patient, let the doctors stand up. Let the nurses be there. Let all of those who care for this Uganda stand up and be counted. Where are they going to be? Where is their future? Yet our role should be how we are going to build this country, how we're going to build the next generation, which is going to go forward. So while things are going wrong, we cannot be quiet. The role of the CDF is defined in the Constitution. The role of the UPF is defined in the Constitution. What is happening? I cannot walk into an operating theater and start saying, no, you do this, you do that. I have no skill whatsoever or no competence to be able to do so. But on the question of the development of Uganda, as the Uganda People's Congress, I have a lot to talk about. And there'll be time to talk about. Right now, it is here to stand together with other political players and say, enough is enough. If you're going to do anything, you make sure you're going to do it with some of us where we cannot talk. Because I am not going to go into the future on my knees. I won't go on my knees. I will stand and talk for Uganda up to the point where you put me in the ground. I think this isolation and this security thing, locking down places is going to remain forever. I've spent most of my life outside of those trappings, but I've lived in those trappings. I can address myself, I can move freely amongst people because of the conduct of those who came before us. So, choices have to be made, and those choices, many of those choices are not us to make. It is those in the first family to make the choices which is going to benefit them, but where we are concerned is when it affects Uganda, I have a right to speak. If you choose whether or not you're going to solve these other issues, that's yours. But for Uganda, I must speak. For your own benefit, it's up to you whether you decide to do so or not. But what I can assure Muhoozi, there's no presidency forever. When you're a son of a former president, life may be very different. Prepare for it.
I was asking if at all UPC is a sister party or a brother party. It's a sister party. Thank you for organizing this event, and thank you for inviting us and hosting us. Thank you, the Fourth Estate, for your patience and for covering this event. This is the third event in which you are seeing us together, and you must know that we are now putting our act together not only to address the existential threat that is being posed by the NRM government through a new formation, a political party called PLU, which is existing parasitically with its mother party, the NRM. So one is a parasite of the other, and they seem to be coexisting, but one fiercely using the military in order to intimidate and to subdue all voices of dissent, of which we are working on to ensure that Ugandans are free. We are here to tell you that we shall continue to talk, you shall continue to speak, until everybody gains confidence that we are able to speak for ourselves. We are not going to waver. We discovered that everybody who speaks out is intimidated by an arrest, and the recent is Miriam Matembe, who, because of the capture of the judiciary, could not even be allowed to have bail. We have always been talking about the state capturing all institutions, and this is what exactly happened. The courts are under capture. They are being held in captivity. The judges don't know how to proceed, including the Chief Justice, who is new. He just doesn't know how to proceed or even to speak to the subordinate courts. It is frightening that the parliament has also been captured. It has never been captured the way it has been captured this time, because it has been decapitated by the capture of the Speaker of Parliament himself, subscribing to PLU, the parasitic subordinate party within the NRM, and rallying all Ugandans to belong to PLU. A very big shame of the worst kind in our times for a Speaker of Parliament to succumb to number 23 in the hierarchy, 27 in the hierarchy. Number 3 succumbs to number 27 and even rallies support for a parasitic organization eating the major organization on this land. A very big shame. And I think the Speaker of Parliament must apologize. For us who are not in Parliament and we are parties on opposition, we want to uphold the sanctity and the power of Parliament, because it is a pillar of government. But for somebody to sacrifice it for accepting to be subdued by number 27 is a big shame. And Right Honorable Oboth must apologize and withdraw from that formation with immediate effect, because Ugandans are judging him. Speakership is the very clear example of the capture of all institutions of the state. Now Parliament was captured, then judiciary is captured, the military was captured. Don't think that the military was not captured. The military was captured. The UPDF was captured. And it was captured by the first famine. They just don't know how to proceed until they are told to do so. And now the presidency has also been captured, by the way, by the CDF. You will remember what happened recently with the Nation Media Group. When the closure happened, the CDF said that it was him that captured, that closed. When the president was rudely woken up to say it was him that ordered the closure. Now I think they are fighting for power of who closed the national media group. It is a very big shame. They said that Uganda elected a president recently who won, I hear, by 71%. And he was sworn in here at Kololo. And his son was maintained as CDF. But now they are struggling on who has the power to move troops where. We are waiting for another tweet from Mr. Mohoz Kainerugaba, defending himself that it was indeed him who ordered the closure of the National Media Group.
One of the framers of the Constitution of Uganda. Really? And at least for those contributions, you cannot respect her? You cannot respect the fact that she's ill? But what you can do is to send her on remand? Honestly, where did the humanity go? Is this the far we have reached? Do you want Ugandans to run away from this country and leave you alone? Are you able to survive without these citizens? Who are you going to lead? If you are frustrating every effort of a Ugandan to preserve and defend the Constitution, which was actually reframed in 1995 when the current regime was under the leadership. Now, if you yourselves cannot respect your own constitution which you framed, whom do you expect to respect it? There will be a time, because now lawlessness is becoming the order of the day, where people will, somebody will come to arrest a person and says, who are you? First go and arrest the other one. If you cannot touch the other one and the other one, why are you touching me? And you'll see people flexing with the law enforcement officers. Is this where you want us to go? Can't we have a reconciled nation? The other time I had the chairman of the the National Consultative Forum trying to spread his wings to the region, saying that we should have a consultative forum and dialogue across the region. First, clean your house before you go out to the region. Uganda is on fire. What are you going to do in Kenya? What are you going to do in Tanzania when Uganda, where you are, is on fire? What example are you setting to the rest of the region for them to embrace your consultative forum? Together as citizens, whether you belong to the movement, whether you belong to the FDC or UPC or PFF, we are all being affected by the same situation. The situation of lawlessness, the situation of tyranny. People are in their houses, suspects are in court, their representatives are being picked one at a time. They are not even sure that they will come back to represent them in court. Is that the Uganda that we want as citizens? I think this is an awake call to all of us Ugandans to speak for ourselves and put the powers to order, to serve us. We don't serve them. Otherwise, we wouldn't be collecting taxes for them to spend. They serve us. And the authority that everyone is holding is vested authority. Actually, this is the reminder. Vested authority, meaning that it is not your authority, it is our authority. We have only lent it to you to exercise it on our behalf. If you can keep that at the back of your mind, then this Uganda is going to be the best place for all of us to be at. I say this for God and my country, and I associate myself and the Forum for Democratic Change. We associate ourselves with the common cause of all of us, the political parties in Uganda. You may think you're a member of the NRM, but from my observation, I see that the NRM is also being swallowed by another political outfit called PLU. Today, we have a Speaker of Parliament who was elected to parliament on the NRM ticket, but I heard him making ridiculous remarks that every Ugandan is supposed to belong to PLU. I don't know whether he was making those remarks in respect to the patriotism, or he was commanding everyone to belong to that political outfit which lacks definition, because until now, I find a big problem whether to place it in the political parties, because it is not registered as so, whether it is a non-government organization, or whether it is a junta that has taken over government, but the current president is not bold enough to accept and announce that he has handed over power. I think we are living in a bleak situation. Mr. President, you talked about consolidating the gains, protecting the gains and consolidating the achievements. I don't know by the time of your departure what will be left of what you were seeking to consolidate. God bless Ugandans.
Talk about Dr. Besigye, who has been incarcerated for most of the time this year with his colleague Obedi Rutale, then the NUP, various officials, and foot soldiers have been arrested for all this time. So, and then you bring all of this, which is happening today. So I really don't see this one as helping anybody, and I am sure there's going to be, for every action, there must be a reaction. And don't think that the reaction you want is what will follow. For you, if you think that you do this one and intimidate, for others, it is going to be a different reaction which you cannot control. So it's not in anybody's interest to continue with a situation where there is no constitutionalism, where there is no law, where there is no what? Where there is no order. And